Okay, so now I've done this. If you watched the previous video on how to get a blank ready for the lathe, I've done this on the bandsaw, and now I've got a 2-inch Forstner bit in here, and I'm going to go ahead and drill this end. So now I can reverse chuck this anytime throughout the operation of making the bowl. So what I'll do is I'll drill a 2-inch hole in here about ½ inch deep, and then I will go ahead and I'll face this piece of wood, and I'll cut a external grip on it so that I can grip it internally or externally. So here I'm going to turn my lathe, because it's a big piece of wood, to the lowest speed. Now, because I cut this on the bandsaw with the chuck as the pivot point already installed, this big heavy piece of wood isn't causing my lathe to vibrate. So I can spin it up. Actually, I'm doing like 322 RPM right now with no lathe vibration. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and drill this so it's about the right RPM for drilling a 2-inch hole in here with a Forstner bit. So now I can reverse chuck this anytime I want. I've got my hole centered. I can go ahead and put my live center in there and give extra support to the piece of wood, so when I face it off and do the turning, it's supported as long as possible. So now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll face this off, and I'll go ahead and put an external mount. I'll put a spigot so that I can mount it out on the large end of a spigot, and that'll give me more support than I would get if I mounted it internally. Mounting it internally will come later when the bowl is in shape and there's absolutely no vibration. So here we go. So I'm up at about 400 RPM. Okay, so I'm going to reposition my tool rest. I'm going to round this off a little bit. And again, I'm going to reposition the tool rest. The gouge is a little dull, so I'm going to turn it over. Okay, so this is fairly flat. And now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll round this off and I'll bring this back so that I can have a nice foot at about 5 inches in diameter. Here we go. So this is a large piece of oak. It'll be about 12 inches in diameter at completion. It'll have a natural edge, which is back here. And it'll be somewhere around 9 inches, 9-10 inches tall. So this bowl I'm going to have fairly small at the bottom. I'm going to taper it out. Some of the bowls I'll round off, but this one I'm not going to have as rounded. So it'll be more of a tapered bowl. And then when I start getting into the bark, which I'm coming in right here, I'll start going in the other direction so that I don't tear the bark off. I'm going to reposition my tool rest a little bit. So here we go. So So I'm going to reposition my tool rest, kind of start working on the bark a little bit. I'm going to turn my tool over, the sharp edge. So now I'm going to measure this, see about what I got. So I'm at about 5 1/4 inches, so I can actually chuck that. So I'll go ahead and cut an external foot. I'm just grabbing a scraper, square nose, and I'm just going to make sure I'm square here. Okay, I'm going to grab a skew. I'm just going to shape this to a slight taper. Okay, so I've got a nice foot on there, and I'll go ahead and finish some of the finer shaping on the outside, and then I'll turn it around and I'll do the interior. So I'll check back with you in a few. Okay, I'm going to go back to a scraping tool and level it out a little bit. This is shear scraping. Okay, I like that shape a lot better.